Hey, it's Chris from Cricut. Welcome to Cricut 101. Today I'm going to walk you through a monogram project, a custom project, using iron-on to personalize a face mask. You can see we'll be using the Cricut Joy, an Easy Press Mini. There's our cotton face mask in the middle of the screen, and we have some glitter iron-on that we're going to be using as a material. We'll start in Design Space on the home screen, click on New Project, and then text on the left-hand toolbar. We're going to put an N in the text box and then search for some fonts at the top left of the screen. You can see you can make lots of choices. There are several hundred fonts to choose from in Cricut Access. I have one in mind called Art Deco, and we'll be using several letters, a left, a right, and a center. And you can see what I'm doing is making a separate text box for each letter and then bringing it up because, as I said, there's a left facing, a right facing, and a center text for this Art Deco font. So after I make each letter, I'm dragging it up and then hitting the T for text and typing another letter in. And now we've got all three initials in. And that's really what our monogram is going to look like. And next we're going to make it a little larger. So we'll go ahead and put a box around it with our cursor and use that icon at the bottom right of the bounding box to make the letters bigger so we can work on them. You can see I'm adjusting the letters here. This is a custom project and I'm adjusting them to see what they'll look like on the mask. I'm going to group that one more time and then unlock it and now stretch it out a little bit in width. If you unlock it at the bottom with that little lock, then it stops moving proportionally and you can stretch it either from bottom to top or from left to right. I'm just kind of playing with the image to see what it would look like on my mask here. This is just one of the benefits of Design Space. When you're looking to customize a project, you can really make it look exactly as you would like. So now I'm getting it to about where I'd like. Again, using that icon at the bottom right-hand corner of the bounding box to move things around. So I'm going to put a box around it one more time. And now I'm going to change the size to 1.25 at the top, because that's 1.25 inches. That's the overall size I want to make for this project. And you can see I can change the color. I'd like to have a gold color using the top color in the toolbar. And now I'm going to click on matte because I'm making this on a matte with my Joy. And again, just following the green prompts. This is an important part of an iron-on project. On the very far left of the screen, you're going to see the mirror button. You want to click that button when you're doing iron-on. You can see the text reversed itself so that it irons on correctly. In Fusible Ink, you also want to mirror. Here we are at Material Selection. And as I said before, we have some glitter iron-on that we're going to be using for this project. So I'm going to browse materials and drop down to iron-on and choose glitter. Then again, following the green button prompts, the screen is telling me to load the blade into my Cricut Joy, which it already is, and then load the matte into Cricut Joy. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. I just want to go through the software screen here first. Here we are. So one thing you really want to do is measure. I mentioned 1.25 inches. That's what we're doing here, is measuring the width and the length that we want to have the monogram on the mask. I'll take the protective cover off of my Cricut Joy mat and put the iron-on shiny side down onto my mat. Okay, we're going to put that into the Cricut Joy. The blinking light signifies it's ready to be loaded. Now it takes it in and measures it and begins the cut. And I'll show you what this looks like in Design Space in a minute. But the cut is really just happening here on the glitter iron-on. The Cricut Joy is doing the work. And then after it's done, we're going to what's called weed the vinyl, which is take out the excess pieces and then press it onto the mask with our Easy Press Mini. So our cut is almost finished. I'm going to again show you what that looks like in Design Space. It gives you a little gauge. I sped that up a little bit. But it tells you to unload. You pull out the mat. And here you want to peel the mat away from the iron-on, not the other way around. This keeps your material from rolling. You always want to put your cover back on your mat to keep it sticky. And now we're going to do something called weeding, which is really removing the excess vinyl from the monogram. First we'll cut out where the cut occurred in the vinyl so we can save some of this glitter vinyl for another project. And now what you want to do, as Natasha is here, is just get your fingernail underneath and start to peel the backer off of the iron-on. And that will allow you to start to work the excess material out from around your cut. Some people like to do this by hand. Some people like to use what's called a weeding tool, which is what Natasha is using here. She's holding down the backer and pulling the iron-on, the excess iron-on off of the cut. And you can see the Art Deco letters are starting to emerge in this piece. And if something's not coming up as you're weeding, you can kind of go around to another side and start pulling on that side. This is an acquired skill that you have to do a few times to get the hang of. But what's fun about weeding is you start to see the design coming off as you remove the excess material, and you start to get excited about what the project is actually going to look like. Okay, starting to see those ends take shape and the A in the middle. And you can see there's a thin edge to that end on the left-hand side that Natasha is pushing back down with her weeding tool onto the sticky backing of the iron-on. Some beginners may want to start with a font that doesn't have such skinny sides, but it's certainly not beyond the skill level of a beginner. You just have to be careful as you're doing the weeding. Now Natasha's taking out the middle of the A here, and we're getting close to being able to press this project. Okay, now we're going to position the iron-on. And we're going to look up the Cricut Heat Transfer Guide on Google here. You can get to this from the Cricut website too, but we usually just use Google. And here you select which press you have, in this case the Easy Press Mini. I'm going to select glitter and then 100% cotton because my mask is cotton. And then this gives you instruction on how long to press and how to stack your press as well. There's materials you'll need, preparation, application, and even care. So this is a really good stash of information. There's a lot of instruction in the Cricut Heat Transfer Guide. We're doing our pre-press here as prescribed by the Heat Transfer Guide. And now we're going to set the monogram down and use the Easy Press Mini to do our main press here. And you can see Natasha's not using a lot of pressure, but she does have a firm grip on the Easy Press Mini, and she's just taking it back and forth like a small iron to make sure that it sticks to the mask. I'm going to turn that over as the Heat Transfer Guide prescribes and do the back as well. So most iron-ons you want to do a pre-press, iron on the front, and then the back as well. And she just gave it one last hit there on the top, and now she's going to peel the backer off of the iron-on. And with iron-on, this is something you typically want to do when it's cool. It doesn't get very hot with the Easy Press Mini. You can see there's one little piece of the end that didn't stick, so she's going back and using the iron to stick that piece. So as you take that backer off, make sure that everything is staying on your base material. And if it's not, you can always go back and give it a little more iron. Now she's going to pull that off, and there's the monogram on the face mask. Pretty cool. Thanks for joining us at Cricut 101. If you want to watch this on the official Cricut YouTube channel, go to the Cricut 101 playlist.